Hello everyone, this is Shaukat Jan. Today we are going to discuss about Rousseau's concept of journal will. Before moving to this theory or approaching to this topic, I would like to suggest you guys to read this theory by its own because it's one of most important, not only just important but a controversial theory in field of politics. So let's discuss about Rousseau and his concept of general will. Rousseau is an important thinker of modernity. The French Revolution was shaped more by Rousseau's ideas rather than any other figure or philosopher. So Rousseau is considered as an inspiration behind the French Revolution. Although he died before the French Revolution, but the leaders, political activists, and other philosophers who were involved in the French Revolutions were much more inspired by the Rousseaus. So that makes him one of the most controversial figure among the thinkers. So, in simple words, we can say that Rousseau was a philosopher of totalitarianism. As we know that, and most of the peoples are aware about that, during the 18th century there was a philosophical movement that dominated the world, not only just dominated the world but shaped the world. So what was that moment was known as enlightenment movement. So what was enlightenment movement? So it basically this enlightenment movement says that ideas and reasons should be the primary source of everything. So ideas and reason should be in the center, and all other things should be revolving around ideas and reasons. So this thing gave rise to liberty, progress, tolerance, fraternity, constitutional government, and it also separates religion from state institutions. It believes that no religion and monarch no religion monarchs can rule this world. If they are going to rule this world, that's an oppression, that's not a rule. So it has brought political modernization to the west by introducing different democratic values and institutions. So it has been believed that these liberal democracies and modern democracies are outcome of this enlightenment movement. During this post enlightenment period, the world was moving through different change. World was witnessing a new phase where individuals were free to take their own decisions. So there was absolute freedom. So this was the state that was based on reason, not oppression. So here the big question for Rousseau was that what kind of nations would be absolutely free and based on reason. There were some important challenges for Rousseau. So, what were the challenges? First it was that is the tyranny regimes legitimate, and the second challenge was that can we put peoples under oppression as per rule of law? While seeking answer to his challenge, Rousseau came across to three different questions. So, what were these questions? The first was that can there be a contract between oppressor and oppressed? So, this was the first question that he came across. The second one was that can ordinary people, can a common people become a sovereign? Can he rule the state? Can a common people rule the state? So the third one was that is the revolt legitimate? Can we revolt against the state? Can we revolt against our rulers? So let's discuss about the first question. Can there be a contract between oppressor and oppressed? So according to Rousseau, no, there cannot be a contract between oppressor and oppressed. So why cannot there be a contract between oppressor and oppressed? Because the relationship between both of them is based on force. It's not based on consent. So according to Rousseau, oppressor does not have any justification for overpowering anyone, because power itself becomes a justification. It's a power that speaks, not a contract. So it's not part of a contract. So it's simply one is trying to overpower another one because he has power in hand. So there are two types of peoples as per Rousseau who tolerate this oppression. So who are these people? So one category of people is that who are helpless. They don't have anything their hand. They cannot do anything for their freedom. But the another category of people is mad. They have various things in their hand, but they let anyone to snatch their freedom, snatch their basic rights, and to overpower them. Although they have a ground to resist against the oppression, but they want to accept the slavery. So if a nation wants oppressor to rule them, that's a nation of fools. They don't have any rights. The only other explanation is people are quiet because they are afraid. Fear is the most important element of tyranny, and the state run by fear cannot be have a virtue. They don't have any virtue. If the state curtails rights of peoples, that does not mean it's a nation of fools, but it is because of fear. They accept all the means of state violence. According to Rousseau, tyrannical state knows oppression is the only tool to sustain in the power, and the state would not treat people as per rule of law. So all kind of spectacular form of violence would be lashed on the people in the state. So what are the spectacular form of violence? Say for example, they will bring anyone in front of public and would shoot them. So only because citizens of that state should be filled with fear, so they should be trembling in the fear so that they would kneel in front of power. So obedience is what tyrannical power demands. Tyrannical powers only demand obedience of citizens. So this is one of the most important point here. Obedience is what tyrannical power demands. They want citizens should obey. They should not revolt against the state. So in this case, Rousseau says that it is right to rebel against that state. So we citizens has a full right to rebel, to revolt against that state. Let's move to the second question. That's, can ordinary people become the sovereign? According to Rousseau, yes, it's possible, but in only one condition: when people are unite. If the people are able to come under one roof to show their power, to demonstrate the power, then the people's power will exist. But it does not mean we will accept majoritarianism. There is difference in general will and majoritarian will. So what's majoritarian will here? Say for example, in one particular country, there is 90% population belongs to some specific religion group. So other 10 belongs to some different religious groups. So it does not mean we will include only 90%. We will exclude all other peoples. We have to include everyone. The will should, in other words, will has to be guided by the reasons or by principles. Principles become more important than numbers. If we will talk about the general will and majoritarian will, in general will we pay heed on general reasons. We don't pay heed on particular reasons. We exclude the particular reasons. But in majoritarian will, we accept particular reasons, we reject general reasons, because majoritarian will is meant for particular community, and particular community is getting benefited out of that will. So we work for particular community, but the sovereignty belongs to the peoples when they demonstrate their will collectively. No sovereignty will come to the people until they are not going to express their will collectively. We cannot have will without the people, and people without the will, people without will are open to be manipulated, and they are on their way to become a slave. So for Rousseau, it is essential to demonstrate will in politics because sovereignty only belongs to the people, not to the state. So people has every right to demonstrate their will. Now the third question is that, can we revolt against the state? Is this legitimate to revolt against the state? Should people accept tyranny or to rebel? If the government imposes its own decision, should people accept this form of tyranny or to rebel? The government may be elected by the people. If it acts against the people has every right to revolt against that government. The elected governments are mouthpieces of citizens. They cannot act against its own citizens. There is no general will, there is only tyranny and force. The aim of government is to implement general will. Now the question here is that how citizens can identify either they live under tyranny or not. In simple words, they can conduct an experiment. That's a simple. People have to analyze whether the laws are being framed or implemented during the normal circumstances or in emergency. The tyranny would always prefer to enact and implement laws during emergency. The big decisions can be taken during emergency because that time they can silence voices of the peoples with an excuse of emergency. But Rousseau says if country is passing through any kind of emergency, either internal or external, if peoples are with the state, that period can be passed. If the government is harassing its own citizens with their own made up of laws, the republic is pushing towards tyranny, fear, and state loses its importance. In this case, people should revolt against the state. Only strategically, people should accept because they have need to take care of their lives, their families, and others. Strategically here means people do not have to compromise with the government, but they have to play in safe hands. They have to play against the tyranny. People should come to know that they are living under tyranny. If they are living under tyranny, they should prepare for revolution. So how they are going to prepare for that revolution? As per Rousseau, they have to get unite. They have to give sense of knowledge to each other. They have to develop sense of pride by doing such activities. They have to mend up the cracks which were developed by the state. So because no state would wish people should come under